I did another video like this, but I wanted to do another one just to kind of even up the score with myself, if that even makes sense. So I did one version, but then I want to do another version to see which one came out better. So I decided to upload both of them. Basically, this was a demo take or a jam session tutorial in the style of how Tony Iommi would play a standard 12-bar blues in his style of playing. So obviously I'm not Tony Iommi, but the purpose of this video is just to do a Tony Iommi-esque style of his playing, of how Black Sabbath or Earth would play a 12-bar blues in the early years of Black Sabbath, or the later years of Earth, however you want to look at it. If you listen to the early stuff from the Electric Circus show in Switzerland on April 29th, 1970, the version of Blue Coat Man from this show. And if you listen to the version of Blue Blooded Man, which is the same song, just a different title, played at the Dumfries show at the Rugman's Youth Club in Scotland on November 16th, 1969, you'll understand the purpose of this lesson and what I'm trying to explain. So, in the early days, Black Sabbath didn't really have a lot of their own recordings when they first started out, so they would fill a lot of set time playing in front of an audience. They'd do a lot of covers, and Black Sabbath was a very blues, heavy bass kind of band, so they love playing 12-bar blues kind of stuff, a lot of covers. If you read the description of my video, I'll give you a little more information about the song Blue Blooded Man or Blue Coat Man. It's the same song. I don't know why, but on the Dumfries show they have it as Blue Blooded Man, and on the Switzerland show, which I'll show you in a second, they have it listed as Blue Coat Man, but it's the same song. It's basically a cover. It's a Black Sabbath cover. Black Sabbath would cover a lot of songs, a lot of blues-based songs. The original artist of that song is in the description. It's not originally a Sabbath song. Here's the inside. So I wanted to do a lesson talking about how Tony Iommi would play a 12-bar blues bass kind of structured song. If you don't know what a 12-bar blues is, it's like a very standardized chord progression that a lot of, like, every song you can almost think of has some kind of blues 1-4-5 chord progression. Not to get too much into the theory of music, because I'd be talking forever, but 1-4-5 is basically just a chord progression that is kind of just loops over and over again, and it's has a 1 chord and then the 2 chord and the 1 chord and then the 2 chord, and then it goes up to the 5 chord, and it just repeats, as you can hear. And it's a very old school rock and roll song that you would hear, like, maybe on, like, even going back further than, like, Black Sabbath, and even before, like, Clapton. I mean, this is stuff you would hear, like, in the days of, like, Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry and Little Richard would base a lot of songs off of a 1-4-5 progression, which is normally played in a 12-bar blues. And here's the Dumfries show picture. So if you listen to Tony Iommi, his lead playing, he does a lot of chromatic fills in his playing. It's a cool picture right there. He does a lot of chromatic fills. So, or also known as passing tones. So, in other words, on simpler terms, if he's playing in the key of C, just like that jam I was doing, and he's playing like a C minor pentatonic or C blues scale or C major pentatonic scale, he'd throw in a lot of these chromatic runs, which are these in-between notes from one note to the next note in the scale, but some of the notes were not even in the key or even in the scale, but it's more of like a filler. So in fancier terms, you would call them passing tones. And I kind of noticed this after listening to Blue Blooded Man, their version of it. And if you listen to Black Sabbath's version of Blue Suede Shoes, again, the footage can be seen them playing that. If you listen to that, and that's a really good example, Blue Suede Shoes, because you can see exactly what he's doing. And he does a lot of chromatic stuff. So a lot of like, so if you're, for those of you, just to fast forward here, so those of you who know a little bit about theory, if you're playing in C, 1, 4, 5, so C, and then F, and then G are the chords you're working with, dominant chords that is. You can use like C minor pentatonic, C blues, C mixolydian, C dominant arpeggio, C major pentatonic, even some notes from the C Ionian scale or the major scale. But as you're playing those scales and creating a melody or a solo, you can kind of like quickly throw in these notes that are not even in the key, and it just sounds fancy and it looks fancy. It looks like you're all over the fretboard, but really you're just adding passing tones. Because if you think about it, the chromatic scale, you know, is every note in music, and it can be used in every single key, no matter what you're playing. So it doesn't matter where you start it, as long as you end the phrase in the scale or on a note, usually the root note, as long as you end it on the end of a phrase or the end of a progression. You don't want to land on a note that's not in the key, because obviously it would sound off key. So don't get too heavily involved with using chromatic scales or passing tones, because they're just there as a filler. They can be overplayed. So, but again, in this context, it's okay to use it because we're doing like a Tony Iommi Black Sabbath 12-bar blues standard. The reason why I mentioned this in the other video, I did not play over the original track or tracks from the Dumfries show and the Switzerland show, was because it was just, the acoustics was bad, obviously because they're bootleg recordings, and so the sound quality is not that great, and it's so loud and noisy, and it's hard to hear where you're at. It was hard for me to play over it to hear where I was at, because it just sounded so muddy, because it's their version of Blue Coat Man is a very heavily Tony Iommi improvised blues song. So for Tony to be playing as crazy as I was playing here, and for me to be playing over that, it was just too muddy. Probably because of the tempo and all the passing tones. So I wanted to do a special lesson where I was just playing over a C backing track. It was a C blues backing track, C7, F7, G7, 1, 4, 5 progression, and I just wanted to demonstrate the style of that Tony would play in for that kind of music when Black Sabbath would do covers of that kind of material. And the other thing too I want to say, which I forgot, was that I also wanted to do something special for that track, Blue Coat Man or Blue Blooded Man, something special, because since I did all the songs, if you've been watching my videos, I did all the songs from the Dumfries show and the Electric Circus show, 1969, 1970. I did the whole debut album on drums and guitar, every song just about. I think I did do every single song. I did every single song. The only song I did not do on guitar, because there's no guitar, is the Dumfries Show version of Song for Jim, because there's no guitar. Tony's playing the flute, believe it or not. Anyway, so I want to do something special for the last song of the series from them 2 shows. So I did 2 versions of this backing track play along, and then a little a little in-depth kind of tutorial or lesson about the songs to end the series. So thank you very much. Check the description out for more information. So that was the Dumfries Show, and then here's the Electric Circus Show, 1970, April 29th. And check out Black Sabbath, Blue Suede Shoes on YouTube. Great footage. And I'll show you this picture for the last time. This was the last recording I had to do for these shows. You probably never see these pictures again. I had a lot of fun recording these 2 shows and the debut album. But the fun's not over. It's not even getting started yet. So stay tuned. Thanks for checking out the channel. Rockstars92 with the Dio symbol. And check out my new shirt, because guess ready, we're going to be doing Paranoid. We're going to do the follow-up album, Paranoid, which I have here. And I just ordered the box set. I'm still waiting on it, the new box set. We'll get more into that. We'll save it. But stay tuned. I'm going to do Paranoid. I'm going to do drums and guitar, the studio versions, and the outtakes or alternative versions. And we're going to be doing some shows during the Paranoid tour. So from like basically late 1970, we're going to do some shows, including Brussels, live in Montrex, live at the Olympia in December 1970, and some stuff from the Beat Club. So thanks again, guys. See you in the next video.